Hi, folks. Welcome back to the flip side. Today, I want to talk to you about a really insidious Republican bill. They call it the SAVE Act, which is going to make it very, very hard for millions of Americans just to vote, just to be participants in our democratic process. It's an attempt to build on this extreme anti-voting executive order from Donald Trump. And here's what it would do. It would require all voters to show an original birth certificate or a current photo ID or an up-to-date passport just to register to vote, okay? And if you want to update your address, if you get married and maybe change your name, you got to go through all of these hoops again. And if you don't own a passport and you're trying to vote using that as one of the forms of ID, it'll cost you about $130 to get a passport. So this calling it a SAVE Act is pretty darn misleading. It is going to cost Americans, when you add it all up, about $19 billion. And think about all the people that it's going to potentially prevent from voting. Service members who have been using their military ID, that won't be allowed if this becomes law. 70 million married people in this country have different last names now than they did on their birth certificate. That's going to be a big problem. They're going to have to jump through all these hoops, incur all of these costs, or just not be able to vote. Indigenous people who've been using tribal IDs, that won't be allowed under this crazy anti-voting law. And then folks who may not have easy access to in-person voter registration, think about rural voters, think about service members who are deployed in combat zones, students, seniors. All of them are going to have extreme difficulty just registering, let alone voting. So why are Republicans doing this? It's pretty obvious. They're trying to rig the democratic process and make it easier for them to win elections, even if it disenfranchises millions of people. On the flip side, my House Democratic colleagues and I are fighting against this anti-voting agenda. We think it should be easier for Americans to vote. We want everyone to vote. And so one of the things that we're doing, in addition to challenging Trump's executive order here in Congress, we're going to court. Often we don't have standing to do that, but in this case, we believe that House Democrats, through our leadership, do have standing to actually go to court. And so my colleagues and I, represented by our leadership, are in court right now with a great big lawsuit against Donald Trump to try to throw out this crazy anti-voting executive order. We're also fighting tooth and nail against this absurd anti-voting bill, the SAVE Act. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time on the flip side.